Welcome to the Rising Consciousness Show, 20 minutes of soulful insights and powerful tools to elevate your life experience and create with higher clarity, intention, and vision. I'm Tara Antler, intuitive healer and soul coach.
And I'm King Gabriel, spiritual teacher and practitioner. And we are the co-founders of Ascension Academy of Life,
a global center for spiritual growth, intuitive healing, and soul alignment.
Get ready to blast off.
Hello, beautiful beings. I am so grateful to be here with you. I'm popping on real quick, real short, because Gabriel's got to go into town. I did my Christmas shopping yesterday. He's going to be doing his today, so I have maybe 5 minutes to be here with you. And I'm so fired up and excited and just in this love expansion, heart expansion moment that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to extend this energy because it's one of those moments, when you capture a moment, when you're having a moment, you're like, gosh, I just want to share with the whole world. I want to stand on the rooftops and I just want to be like, oh my God, I want you to feel so good. I want you to feel so good. I want you to feel so amazing. So this is why I'm going live and just sharing and showering this love energy, this high vibrational energy out for expansion and change. So this is what I want to talk to you about very, very quickly. So we just I just did a podcast interview and it's so amazing. We're going to release it later today. I'm so fired up about it. I'm so passionate about it because I believe that this is one of those conversations that you're going to want to dial into, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you have your own business, if you're getting ready to start a business, especially we have a lot of coaches, a lot of healers, a lot of leaders, a lot of light workers in our world. You definitely want to tune into this next podcast episode. I'll post a link below here and then I'll do a separate post. Hi, Kathleen. And so if you are an entrepreneur, dial into this conversation that I had, okay, in the podcast. It was amazing. Such a great conversation. And I think it's one that's really needed. And what I wanted to kind of riff off of and spin off of from that vibration was this. So, you know how there's old ways of doing things, we have our patterns, we have a certain way that we wake up in the morning and there's certain routines that we have. We wake up, I have my routine. I wake up and I set the intention to connect to spirit and guide my day. And then, I get going usually with the boys and Arya sleeps in because she's a night owl. And then I get going and I brush my teeth and I go to the bathroom and I drink a huge glass of water. And then I go downstairs, hi Gabby. And then I stretch a little bit and Gabriel's already in doing his workout. And then we're getting breakfast going and I have my smoothie first thing in the morning. You have your routine, right? We all have that. We have our regular routine that we have throughout the day. And then when something comes to shake up that routine or something changes that routine. So for example, before I had babies, life looked totally different when I'd wake up in the morning. Life was, I'll just lay in bed for a few more moments. I'm just going to lay here and then I'll get up and I'll meditate and then I'll still brush my teeth and go to the bathroom and have my big glass of water. And then I'm going to do some yoga and then I'm going to set my intentions and I have this huge big morning, right? There are always evolution and changes going on in our life. Now, if I was to try to hold on to that old way of being while I'm in a new version of myself, you could imagine there's going to be conflict, right? Life is not going to work and flow in the way that I'd love for it to, because we're evolving ourselves. We're constantly growing and becoming the next version of ourselves in our life, in our business, in our families, as a parent, as a friend, whatever we're up to in the world. And let me know in the comments that you can hear me clearly too, by the way. I forgot to ask that. And then there's this old version, this old part of ourselves that is so used to doing things in this manner, in this way, that sometimes when life changes, either life throws us a curveball and we have to change, we have to pivot very quickly. We have to pift, as I say, pift and shift and shivot. Shivot was the other one. Pivot and shift, or shift and pivot. Pivot and, what was I saying? Shivot. Hi, Diane. And so we have to learn how to pift or shivot very quickly, okay? And sometimes that will happen where life throws things at us and things change. Then other times we ourselves are going through our own changes, our own personal growth and our own internal transformation. And then we're like, okay, I know I need to let go of the old in order to step into the new. This is happening all the time within ourselves. Hi, Alana, nice to see you. This is happening all the time. What I wanted to talk to you about is the ease and the quickness. Can you be light on your toes? As I stand on my tippy toes, can you be light on your toes? This is what we've been doing in here regularly at night, is having dance parties in here. And we be ballet, we do ballet and we become ballerinas. To be light on our toes. Can you be light on your toes right now? And light on your toes meaning yes, there's a time to be really grounded. And yes, there's a time you want to ground who you are and what you're bringing in. And right now, because there's so many changes happening, we want to be light on our toes a little bit more. Think of the snow, especially here outside. And I just want to show you what it looks like and what I'm looking at right now. It's quite spectacular. This is the view I've got right now. And so with all the snow out there, it's very light and it's very fluffy. And if you want to walk on the top of snow, especially as snow gets to be like 6 feet deep, which it was last winter, you have to be light on your toes. You got to be light on your toes to be able to walk on the top of the snow. And so it's such a great lesson, because right now I feel like we need to be a little bit lighter on our toes, because we are creating new roots. We're creating new foundation. We're building a new way. We're building a new way to live our lives. We're building a new way to to do business. We're building a new way to be parents. We're building a new way to how do we be with each other? How do we deeply connect with each other and be authentic in that? And so you're really going to love the conversation that I had in the podcast with Mary Morgan. It was amazing. And it was all about the transformation and the shift that's happening within business and marketing and being able to shift and let go of. But this is the way business has always been done. Have you ever heard that? I've heard that many times. Growing up in an entrepreneurial household, watching my parents grow a business from the ground up, myself being an entrepreneur for 20 years. But this is the way business has always been run. This is the way business always goes. And I remember from day one when I heard that, I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'll try this. I'll do this. If it works, great. And if it doesn't, there's got to be an easier way. And this is one of the things that Mary and I were talking about. How do we create easier ways of living, of being in the world, even doing business? There's got to be easier ways even around the business conversation. And so this is why you're going to love the conversation that we had in the podcast. We talked in depth about that. But I wanted to bring forward for you right now is this energy of being able to be light on your toes. There is a time to ground. There's a time to really set into your foundations. And by the way, happy winter solstice. I forgot to lead with that. Happy winter solstice. And so be light on your toes today. I was sharing with my mom yesterday when we were in town that Gabriel and I, and some of you know this story, but Gabriel and I, many, many years ago, we lived in Ireland, and we got invited to this amazing winter solstice ceremony, an event. And it was the ancient druids, like the real druids, not the ones that were like tarnished by certain religions and whatnot, like the spiritual, deeply beautiful beings that refer to themselves as druids. Very earth-based, very spiritual. And so we go, and it was amazing. We had this big feast. And then there was the moment where we had the ceremony for the winter solstice. And it was this old druid, one of the old druid churches, castles. And the roof there was no roof. So it opened up to the sky, and there were trillions and trillions and trillions of stars. And it was dark outside. It was so dark. And they had a path lit by candles all the way down, winding, and then down a little hill and some rocks. And you had to be light on your toes when you walked because there was so much snow. We were up higher in the mountains in this particular part of Ireland. And there was a lot of snow. You had to be light on your toes, and everybody was quiet because we were going into ceremony. And we were quiet going in, and it was this big time of transformation, redoing things in a different way, living life in a new way, forging new territory, being willing to release the old. And that was the ceremony. And everybody went into silence. So we all walked together in single file. And we took some time before we went out, and I'm sharing this with you because maybe it'll resonate with you to do something like this today. We wrote out, what am I willing to let go of? I'm forging a new path. I'm going into a new experience, a new year, a new version of me. This is how I want to grow. This is how I want to create life. This is what I want to experience on the planet. This is what I want to experience for my life. What am I willing to let go of? What am I willing to purge? And we wrote it down on a piece of paper. So we had a purge paper and we had a creation paper. And so we took both papers and we were walking down this candlelight path and down the stairs and into this druid church, castle, temple. And it was all lit by candles with a fire in the center. And we gathered in a circle and we took a moment, we prayed, and they spoke in the ancient tongue. They spoke in Gaelic. So I had no idea what they were saying, but I could feel the energy. Being an energy healer, I could feel the energy in this space. And I was like, whew, whoa. And then I started to see all the ancient ones, all our ancient ancestors moving around the circle and coming in and around us and supporting us. And even though there was maybe 20 or 30 of us there were hundreds of spiritual beings in the space with us. And I was like, ooh, I said, this is so good. This is so good. It felt amazing. And I could feel it again. And then they started singing in Gaelic. And someone was translating, and basically the songs and what they were chanting was, we lovingly release the old. We are grateful for what was. We are grateful for all that we've been and all that we've walked and the path that we've tread. And now we're letting it go. We release it up to you, how I would interpret it as grand creator, the divine. And so we released our papers and we burnt them in the fire. And we took a moment in silence again to just reset from that moment. And then we took the paper of creation and we said, this is what I'm choosing, and this is what I'm creating, and this is what I stand for. And I'm willing to step into this new version. I'm willing to become something new with love, with ease, with grace, with the divine creator, And then we held that in our hearts, and we held it in our being and our frequency. And then we released it into the fire, and we let the fire take it. And it was such a beautiful ceremony. And it's one that I've done ever since that moment. And I had other winter solstice ceremonies that I used to do, but that one was really unique and really special. And I feel like I anchored in a whole new version of myself, but becoming the new version of yourself requires you to let go of something. So you may have a very well-practiced way of living and being and living and doing life. And then you're like, but I want this over here, and I want to become this over here, and I want to stretch into this over here. And there's this tug of war within self, a conflict within self that starts to happen. So what we need to be willing to do is to lovingly release maybe what doesn't work, what doesn't serve, what's old, what's outdated, what needs to be refreshed and renewed, and to be willing to let that go with ease and grace and let it burn up to the flames. Mary shares a really powerful story in that podcast too about that, of just like letting it burn all down, right? So that's the letting it all go. And then powerfully being willing to step into the new, equally as powerful. And that requires courage, and that requires faith, and that requires a connection to your spiritual self, and it requires bravery to be able to say, I'm going to release this to step into this. I'm going to let go of maybe old ways of doing things that maybe worked at one point that don't work anymore, ways of living that worked at one point that really don't anymore, ways of thinking and viewing the world that just don't work anymore. And can I be willing to release it? So today, on the winter solstice, I encourage you to create your own ritual of sorts, your own ceremony to release the old with love, with care, not like boot it out. Don't boot it out, okay? Like be gentle. Release it and let it go with love, with care, with tenderness, and then step into the new and activate the new and be open and expressive to the new and open and available to the new. You are constantly rebirthing yourself all the time if you allow for it, right? And so that's what I wanted to leave you with, was that energy of being willing, courageous, brave, to release what doesn't serve. Maybe you stepped onto something, maybe you chose something, maybe you have been working at something for a while and you're like, it's time, like I hit the wall, I hit the end of the road. Now it's time to let go, or maybe it just doesn't feel good. So let it go with love, honor it. We're gonna do a celebration tonight. We did it last year with the kids where we reenacted, we recreated, we lit our path in the snow, and it was deep last year, so it's not as deep this year. But we lit a path to the fire, and we did this with the kids, and we taught them about that so that they know about the winter solstice and what it really means and what the energy of this unique, beautiful, spiritual day actually is. So honor it in the midst of the busyness, and the groceries, and the baking, and the Christmas stuff, and if you're shopping, and all the to-dos. Remember to take a pause, because we're in this really beautiful window today for 24 hours to really honor what was and honor the old, lovingly release it, and step into the new, and create something for yourself that honors that. All right, so I'm going to complete there because Gabriel does have to run. I love you all so much. Have the most beautiful winter solstice day. I am so happy and honored to have you a part of my world, of our world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in our world for as long as you have, whether it's been a minute or many, many years. We appreciate you. We love you. We honor you. We celebrate you. And I'm so excited to hear everything that you're creating on the planet as we move forward. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the Rising Consciousness Show. For more high vibrational tips, tools, meditations, conversations, and ascension, join us over in our free Facebook group. All you have to do is go to www.facebook.com/groups Light Ascension Collective. We look forward to seeing you there.
You're listening to Rising Consciousness. Yeah.
Woo!
Woo!